$2,000 subscribers. 2,000 subscribers. The Bathtub International Bathing Alliance is spread its tentacles throughout the universe. And today we're celebrating 2,000 subscribers. All the people crazy enough to watch this show. And I'm going to turn the music off because I'm afraid Richard Strauss might try to sue me. Having a Pabst Blue Ribbon, one of the challenges I had for my 2,000 subscribers. All our regular bathing buddies have given me some requests for this special show. They can request things, and one guy wanted me to chug Pabst Blue Ribbon beer. I've never even drank a Pabst Blue Ribbon, so I'm going to sip it methodically throughout the discussion. Andy McKinney asked to have... first of all, I got to do this. I forgot the most important part. Dancing Queen. Dancing Queen. Dancing Queen. That's ABBA. That's me doing ABBA. Some idiot asked me to do ABBA as part of this. I can't even sing the song because I'll get sued. Han, you want to come in here? Andy McKinney asked us if the lovely Lucy would come say hello.
Hi,
She's
everyone.
definitely lovely. She's my wife, and she puts up with me. And
the doggy.
And the dog. Lucky's here. Okay, Lucky, keep it. Oh my gosh. We're all here to wish everybody thanks for all their support for the Bathtub. And Lucky, look at this thing is all over the place. This thing. Okay, and you want to say something, honey? Did you want to say anything?
I'm okay. Just to say hi, everyone, and thank you very much. Like Scout YouTube video. Also,
how could they not like this?
Also, thank you very much. Is like my painting as well. Thank you.
Lucy actually does the real art in this place. Okay, so I can take this off. I'm boiling hot. Thanks, hon. And that was one of my challenge. It wasn't a challenge. It was a request to do ABBA, who I hate. I don't know any of the lyrics, and I can't take this thing off. I'm actually tied up. I'm afraid I'm going to get I think I'm going to get a really low quality viewer after this. I think we'll get some strange people on watching the show, expecting that kind of excitement every episode. When I was putting it on, it was reminding me that normally when I do this show, I've taken that stuff off before I get on the show and before I talk to you about books. And today, Lucy was laughing. She said, well, this is the first time you actually sat down and put the stuff on rather than take it off before you go on. So that was one of our jokes. I've got stuff all over me. I've got a bunch of requests today, so we've gotten through 2 or 3 of them. I forget what kind of annoying person suggested I do ABBA. I know Andy wanted Lucy to come visit. I'm going to go through some of our requests. I've got a bunch of nice requests from people. Most of them, your grandma and your kids can come in. You can bring the whole family in. They can all come in, except for maybe that opening part. There's not going to be anything more shocking. That's the most shocking thing that will happen on the show. Luke Boardman wanted me to play Mary Had a Little Lamb on the harmonica. I'm sorry, Luke, I don't have a harmonica, and I'm not going to carry the piano upstairs, so I thought about that. I'm going to go through these just one by one. Basically our resident artist in chief is B.K. Smith. He did the wonderful picture that's hanging on the wall back there. And B.K. wanted me to talk about my first novel, which was called The History of Luminous Motion. That's one of my first. I got a few people ask me about my stuff for this episode. And I won't have time to talk about it here. This is my first novel. It's available. There's a small, I think we've actually given you free links to it somewhere. And I thought what I would do, BK, is I'll try to do like what do they call them? Pointless Adventures in Literature. I'll do my first novel, which is definitely a pointless adventure. What else do we get? Oh, Monopolistically. Someone named Monopolistically. And here's I forget who asked me to do this too. Oh, Doomfella. Doomfella asked me, instead of drinking martinis, could I chug this? Thanks, Doomfella. That's a great idea. I'm not going to chug 24 ounces of it. I don't even know if I can drink that whole thing. Monopolistically asked to see some of my my signed books from my collection, my favorite signed books. So look, I got a bunch of cool signed books I could show you. This is pretty cool. I don't think I've shown you this. This is my buddy old Tom Dish, who killed himself several years ago in order to piss off his landlord. Old Tom was a great guy. That's Tom and John Slottick. John Slottick outside the Klutz house in London, where I actually had one of my photos taken, exact same spot practically. And this is the book they wrote together called Black Alice, which is about a rich girl who wakes up in basically a black neighborhood, poor black neighborhood, has to go through this kind of nightmarish journey to go home. I haven't read it since it came out, but it's a very funny book. Anyway, this is kind of an exciting first edition signed, because I have it signed both by Tom, when I knew Tom, and John Slottick, when I met John at the Klutz house years and years ago, and spent the time talking to him and liking him very much, and so forth. And in fact, I have another terrific. This is a pretty rare book. That's John signed the same day. I always wanted to get together with John again after that, and I never did. August 11th, 1995, Camden Town. Okay, so those are two exciting ones. Here's another quite exciting one. I have all of these signed. I have all, Richard Stark. We've talked about Richard Stark and Donald E. Westlake. Richard Stark has been made into all those Point Blank, and there's a recent one called Parker, which is kind of stupid with Jason Statham, and I forget the woman's name. It'll come to me. J-Lo's in it. Anyway, I got these first editions of these old cheap British hardcover editions of the Richard Stark novels when they were coming out. And when I saw... Oh, did I get that one signed? Oh, I didn't get that one signed. When I saw Donald E. Westlake... Oh, this is stupid. Anyway, I got a whole bunch of them signed. I didn't bring the signed ones. Those are not the signed ones. But he wrote some very funny comments in all of his books. And you're not going to see them, because I forgot. I brought the wrong books. Okay, and then probably my favorite of my signed books, I've done a Pointless Adventure about Richard Yates when I met Richard. And this is first edition of Revolutionary Road, signed. Where the hell did he sign it? Oh, Dick Yates, October 12th, 1992, when I went to see him in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. How do you know that elephants are old in Alabama? Because they're Tuscaloosa. And that's where old Dick Yates ended up. I'm really okay. And then I have another one of my favorite, probably one of my all-time favorite books, 11 Kinds of Loneliness, Richard Yates' first collection of stories. He says, with at least 11 kinds of good wishes. I had a lovely afternoon with old Yates. Okay. What else have we got? Somebody. Oh yeah, they have these different monikers, right? When they go on YouTube, and his name is her name is 2003, A Film Odyssey. He asked to see my feet. He wants to see my feet. You might want to send Grandma out of the room, and that's one of my feet. Very poorly manicured. Not much to look at. Look, it's gigantic. It's like huge. It's not that big in real life. I've had to say that about a lot of things. Andy's kind of one of our big proactive guys out there in Northern Ireland. He wanted me to read a passage from What's Wrong with America. This is my second novel. Some people know my first novel, and then almost nobody knows anything I wrote afterwards. But I'm happy with. I quite like all my novels after that. This is called What's Wrong with America. When it came out, I couldn't find an American publisher for it because they kept saying you should say what's right with America. This was 1993, and they were saying you shouldn't say what's wrong. You should say what's nice about America. And it hasn't gotten any better, has it? So this is about an old woman who's got a husband. It was about all the crazy right-wing nutters, the Newt Gingrich crowd of psychopathic right-wingers, and the fact that the left-wingers were all bastards too when Clinton was coming along. And I wrote it about that time, and I remember thinking, it's so crazy the crazy things about gun laws and the craziness of these right-wing nutters and the cowardice of the left wing of the Democrats, I said, it's got to get better. And I remember thinking, I've got to publish this book fast because no one will believe it in 2 or 3 years. And of course, everything just got worse. What's Wrong with America? The old woman, basically, it starts off, she shoots her husband, who's just a nut. Who watches. If he was alive now, he'd be watching, Tucker Carlson all day. And she's writing lists about what she thinks. Her husband's been telling her what's wrong with America all her life, and she makes her own list. And I thought I'd just read this for Andy here. What's wrong with America? 1, too much anger, not enough bread. 2, people with overly critical, negative-sounding vibrations who think they know everything. Basically, she's talking about her husband, her dead husband. She shot him once and she just can't. She's still angry. 3, shopping malls which are too big and noisy without anywhere to sit down for a few minutes and rest your feet. 4, not enough gun control. 1993. 5, people who use the word coloreds to refer to people of the Negro persuasion. She's talking about her husband again. 6, too many women on Valium, not enough men. I think that's one of her best points. 7, people who still blame everything on the poor Russians. And that's for Andy. That's the one of the lists that she's trying to keep in the course of that long, I hope, funny book. Donald Morgan asked, he wanted me to refer to something. Donald, you said you wanted me to refer to Death Race 2000. Who else, with a pointless book chat show on YouTube that is watched by 2,000 people, actually has Death Race 2000 on his pile of videos? I mean, I haven't watched it again in many years, but I did get this not long ago because I wanted to see it again. It was Paul Bartel. It was Roger Corman and our buddy Bruce Furtimer, our bathing buddy Bruce, worked with Paul Bartel. God damn it, I can't even see. Anyway, I want to say it's Paul Bartel, but I can't remember the guy's name now, the director and the writer. Okay, so Death Race 2000. Okay, Harris Coverley. Gotta go through these quickly because we're running out of time. Harris is one of our bathing buddies, and he wrote a haiku. And I didn't really read it till just now, and I realized it's a perfect haiku for the bathtub. And here it goes. Harris Coverley's bathtub haiku. Within the bathtub, constant fight with copyright, a drowning in books. Thank you, Harris. I think I didn't. It's almost like you're writing about our show there. Okay. Benjamin Revel, he said we should do a live stream Q&A, and I would like to do that someday maybe, but I don't really know how to do it yet, and I didn't really figure out how to do it, so we can't do that one. David Hall asked me to talk about Tobias Wolff. And actually, wait a second. I think I know where this book is. Really well organized show. I mean, I should edit this out, of course, but I don't know. I've never figured out how to edit software. Tobias Wolff is one of our favorite writers here at the Bathtub, and here's a signed copy when I met Tobias, October 19th, 1995. We had a nice lunch. I've never seen him since then. He constantly writes letters for me when I used to try to teach, and I kind of gave up, so he doesn't have to be bothered by me anymore. But Tobias is a wonderful writer. Toby Wolff, great short story writer, and Back in the World is his second collection, and that's the British first of that. And okay, we will definitely do Tobias Wolff one of these days. Okay, we just got to find the time to go back. I've reread his stuff so many times. I just got to find time to get back to it. Saran Saraman wants me to disagree or agree with Nabokov's opinions on every writer he ever commented on. That's like 50 shows. We can't do that, sir. But he says someday let's do Swan's Way, and there's Swan's Way is the first volume of Remembrance of Things Past, and you can see it. Here you go. We've got a really nice letter I was just kind of flattered by this. It was very nice, man. I do not know him. William Shiflett wrote me a page-long suggestion about how I would do an interview with one of my favorite characters that I've written over the years, which is my misanthropic dog, Dazzle. Dazzle Resplendent. I did that cover myself. It's terrible. The print is fine. It looks okay. You can get that through, I'm sorry, Amazon or Amazon's it. I hate Amazon, but that's the only place I can publish this book. And I couldn't figure out how to do it anywhere else. But some bookstores like Skylight Books in LA have it. But Dazzle's my misanthropic dog. And he wanted me to do a whole stagey thing, a funny thing about talking to Dazzle. And I just couldn't figure out how to do that. But I would someday. All right. A lot of our buddies, our bathing buddies, like George Petroff, we hear a lot from George. And he asked me to give him the top 10 favorite George Simenon books, my top 3 Brian Moore novels. He asked me a bunch of other top 3 Don DeLillo books, etc., top 10 science fiction books. So those are things that we may talk about in the future. For now, my favorite George Simenon, if I picked one, I think we talked about it, I would probably pick... I like so many of them for so many different reasons. I might say The Neighbors. The Neighbors is one that kind of sticks out in my mind all the time. But any one of his thrillers are good. Favorite 3 Don DeLillo books. I got mixed feelings about Don DeLillo, but the one I liked the most when I read it was probably White Noise. My top 3 Brian Moore novels. My favorite's a hard one to pick. But I think the best one to recommend, the one I recommend the most often, is Brian Moore's The Statement. I always think that's it's just kind of a perfect thriller. And then it's got a lot going on in it. Could you paint a port? Oh, Hardwaz, that's not a bad idea, but I don't know how to draw anything, so I can't really... someone wanted me to draw a picture of an artist doing something that was emblematic of that artist. And sorry, I was going to do that and I forgot. I don't know how to do that. Our friend Nazreen Vahidi, we hear from her very occasionally. She loves to read books and audio listen to books, and she just said some nice things about the show and said, congratulations on 2000. Could you do Robert Bolaño in the future? I don't really know. I don't know him that well, but maybe we'll do him someday. Caesar Pizza and Lawrence Carr wanted me to fart in the bathtub. I'm sorry, I can't do that. I'm not going to fart in the bathtub for you. But you couldn't handle it. You just couldn't handle it. Don't let Grandma hear that one. Orpheus asked me to read a poem I've written, and I've never written a poem. I've only published one poem in my life, and that was in Hot Animal Love. It was from the first story called Angry Duck, and it's about a duck who becomes a poet. And I forget, what was his name? I love this story. I don't know. No one knows the story except me. I let it off with the beginning of this book. And Sammy the duck. And he publishes a lot of poetry, and he does, he's a drunk and he's crazy, and he's one of those difficult poets in academia. And he wrote a poem, and this is how it goes. Fucking ducks. Excuse my language. You fucking stupid fucking ducks. Swimming around in your fucking stupid fucking smelly pond water scum, you stupid ducks. Would you please just shut the fuck up? Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. And I can't read any more of that because I can't use the F word. I think I've just totally invalidated this episode, so your grandma can't watch it now. Sorry. Donald Kelly wanted me to talk about J.G. Ballard. And we love J.G. Ballard here. We want to talk about him and talk about some other people he mentioned here, such as Marcel Proust. We mentioned him. Okay, we want to do that. Bruce Ferber, our bathing buddy, wants to do a Philip Roth episode eventually. And I would like to do a Philip Roth episode eventually because there are a couple of his books I haven't read that I would like to read, and a couple I wouldn't mind rereading again. And I would like to read the new biography. Kevin Heffenbein asked to hear about experience with literature, good or bad, in high school. Any books that made a strong impression, one way or the other. I'm going to cut this fairly quick and simply say that I had a wonderful teacher in high school named Mr. Holden, who put up with me, and Mr. Zimmerman was another good teacher there. And they put up with me, and I wasn't paying any attention to classes. But because of both of them, Mr. Zimmerman assigned Madame Bovary when I was 16 or 17, and I loved it. I read it, never read, so I really enjoyed that. And because of those occasional high school teachers, I don't know if that would be, you can even read a good book today. My experiences in the universities, you can't actually read books anymore. You can only write crappy essays about rhetorical strategies. Donald Morgan again, I think we mentioned him, but he said he wants us to talk about Evan S. Connell. Evan S. Connell. We love Evan S. Connell, and he wrote Mr. and Mrs. Bridge, 2 different novels. He also wrote Son of the Morning Star, the nonfiction book about Custer, and someday we will have to take old Mr. Evan Connell into the bathtub. And he said he lived in Sausalito, which I sort of remembered and then forgot or something. And Alex Shepteben says, you want to do another Nabokov video. I love doing Nabokov videos so people can complain about how I pronounce his name. I get more idiots when I talk about Nabokov than any other thing I talk about. And he suggested Panine. And yeah, actually Panine would probably be one of the next books we would do. It's very funny. It's basically a series of stories about this crazy old Russian guy who's not like Nabokov, but you can see Nabokov understands the problems he's having communicating. And it's a very funny book. So we may try that. Okay, that's it. I'm going to have to say goodbye. I'm not playing any more music. I don't want to get sued. I want to thank everybody for signing up for this ridiculously pointless show. And we're going to do we got a lot of new shows to do this next few months. I got lots of books coming up. I got books coming out of my ears here. I got nothing to do around this house except read books and walk the dog. Okay? So stay safe. I hope I covered most of your requests, and I'm sure I missed a few. But we'll see you soon. And at the 4,000th, maybe the 4,000th subscriber, we'll do something else. Okay? Take care. Stay safe.